We've all dreamed of it, haven't we? That fantasy of stumbling upon a piece of forgotten history, a real-life treasure buried just beneath our feet. For most of us, it's a fleeting daydream, a fun what-if we entertain while walking the dog or digging in the garden. But for one man, that dream burst into breathtaking reality in a Sussex orchard, and the story he brought to the Antiques Roadshow left everyone, including a seasoned expert, utterly spellbound. The scene was set at Stephen's House and Gardens in North London, a place already steeped in history. On a day like any other for the beloved BBC program, a hopeful crowd gathered, clutching their heirlooms and dusty attic finds. There's always an electric sense of possibility in the air at the Roadshow, a unique blend of nostalgia, curiosity, and the faint, thrilling hope that a forgotten ceramic or a passed-down painting might just be a masterpiece in disguise. Among the hopefuls was a man with a story that began not in a dusty attic, but in the damp earth of an orchard. He approached jewelry expert Geoffrey Munn, a man who has seen more glittering gems and precious metals than most of us could imagine. But the object placed before him that day wasn't in a velvet-lined box. It was a simple, heavy gold ring, whose journey had been a long one, spent in silence and darkness. "I found it with a metal detector 6 months ago in Sussex in an orchard, maybe less than a foot deep," the guest explained, his voice humble. You could almost picture the scene. The patient sweeping of the detector, the sudden sharp beep cutting through the quiet of the countryside. The initial thought that it's probably just another piece of old farm junk. The careful digging, and then the first glimpse of a dull, unmistakable gleam in the soil. What he did next is a testament to his character. Instead of pocketing his find and keeping it a secret, he followed the right path. "I handed it in to the local finds officer, and we got it back recently," he said. Geoffrey Munn's eyes lit up with approval. He immediately recognized the importance of this step, explaining to the guest and the captivated audience that he was legally obligated to report such a find under the Portable Antiquities Scheme. "You did the right thing," Geoffrey affirmed before leaning in closer to examine the treasure. A smile played on his lips. "And boy, did you do the right thing in finding it." The ring itself was a marvel. It wasn't just old. It felt ancient, radiating a weight and significance that went far beyond its physical heft. Geoffrey cradled it in his hand, his expert touch assessing its story. "This would come out of the ground as it appears here," he marveled, turning it over to catch the light. "Because it seems to be absolutely pure gold, incorruptible. You could bury it for 1,000,000 years and nothing would touch the surface of this." This was a golden time capsule. The finder himself added a fascinating detail. He didn't even have to wash it. When he pulled it from the earth, it was already clean, a perfect circle of light against the dark soil. This astonishing purity led him to believe it might be modern, a piece that hadn't had time to tarnish. But Geoffrey knew better. The ring's very substance was whispering a much older story. "Having handled this, it's enormously heavy," Geoffrey continued, his excitement growing palpable. "I'm pretty confident that it's sort of 22 carat, and we don't even expect to see any tarnishing having been in the ground." He then began to decode the secrets held within the gold. The shape, the elegant and bold design, pointed him to a specific era. The front of the ring bore the deep engraving of a heraldic eagle, a symbol of power, nobility, and status. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a statement. This belonged to someone important. This was a man of considerable wealth, Geoffrey declared, because even then, gold would have been enormously valuable. But the most personal clue lay hidden on the inside. There, a set of initials, TIW, were intricately tied together with a delicate rope pattern. It was this detail that sealed the deal for the expert. "That is so typical of the 17th century," he said with a definitive nod. The puzzle pieces were falling into place. This wasn't just a ring. It was the ghost of a man named TIW who lived and breathed nearly 400 years ago. Geoffrey explained its purpose. "The most obvious function of this ring is that it's a signet," he detailed, pointing to the eagle. "It's a way of sealing letters in sealing wax because it's carved in what we call intaglio, it's set back." In an age before digital signatures and instant messages, this ring was a man's identity. It was pressed into hot wax to seal his correspondence, prove his authority, and mark his presence in the world. Every time T.I.W. used this ring, he was leaving a piece of himself behind. You can't help but let your imagination wander.